Good evening, and welcome to the July 23rd, 2014 work session of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining. Please join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. A couple of announcements. If you missed this evening's performance of Juliet and Her Romeo, an adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, and also Chekhov's one-act play, The Proposal, and an original play inspired by Orwell's 1984, head down to the waterfront tomorrow evening at 7. I know it says 6 wherever you look, but it will be at 7 for Momentum Theater Troupe's second performance at Harbor Square near the Ossining train station. It's free. It's a lot of fun. The Momentum Theater Group was last seen here in 2010 when they presented a terrific production of Shakespeare's The Tempest. While they are in the village, the director, Sean Eastman, is holding workshops in some of our summer camps. Lucky are the children. And on Friday, the 25th at 7 o'clock at Engle Park Stage, the summer concert series continues. Westchester's own Terry Lamar and New Company, sometimes a trio, sometimes a six-piece band, playing jazz, rock and roll to Motown and R&B. And on Monday, August 4th, we will begin our pilot project converting Spring Street between Main Street and St. Paul's Place from a one-way to a two-way street. We hope to improve traffic and make downtown more pedestrian-friendly, to improve the economic vitality of businesses on Spring Street and in the entire downtown area. This is a pilot project to allow village officials, residents, merchants, and tourists to experience the changes, potential changes, before any permanent changes are made. We'll be restriping portions of the road, indicating curb extensions and pedestrian refuge islands, flexible bollards and temporary planters, stones, and fencing may also be incorporated to delineate the new circulation. If the pilot project is successful, construction of the permanent improvements will begin in spring of 2015 and include raised sidewalks and medians complete with planters, as well as new crosswalks aligning the north sidewalks of Main Street. We're trying to make the intersection of Main, Spring, Brandreth, and Central Avenue more pedestrian-friendly and safer. Anyone else?
Yes. I'd like to remind everybody, especially on these hot days, if you're feeling like your house could be a little more comfortable, it's a good time to think about going to ossining.energizeny.org and learning about how your home can be more energy efficient. Usually for little or no out-of-pocket expense, your home becomes more comfortable, more energy efficient, and more valuable. I would also like to remind everybody that this Saturday, July 26th, from 5 o'clock till 10 o'clock at Market Square will be Summerfest. Please join us for music and food and fun and games for people of all ages. That's at Market Square this Saturday, July 26th at 5 o'clock. And I'll give you a heads up on the August screening for the Ossining Documentary and Discussion Series. It's called Garbage Warrior, and it is an epic story of a radical eco-ship, Earthship eco-architect. And we have some, he built his house completely out of garbage, and it's become, we've invited some folks locally to talk about different ways that we can build, that they have worked on homes that are especially efficient using retrofitting old ones and some interesting things going on. And it will also include Tom Bregman, who is of Energize New York. So you hear me talk about Energize every week. He's going to be one of our panelists, as well as a couple of other local folks who've done some really interesting projects regarding this eco-architecture. So that's August 14th at the Ossining Public Library at 6:30. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Friday, August 1st is the fire department parade here in
It is.
Austin. And there are over 30 some odd fire departments going to be represented, so you can kind of see this extraordinary array of apparatus.
38.
38 fire departments. That's substantially more than we had last year, and we're very excited. It starts up all the way up just before Melrose Lumber, comes down across Route 9 and down Main Street. There's a dais that'll be right across from the post office for an assortment of dignitaries, and then it proceeds all the way down to Engle Park. So come, enjoy. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else?
John? No? Okay. I do. Our police department has been doing a lot of outreach to the community itself. If you go to Facebook, like their page, there's a group of guys and doing a lot of voluntary work in their off days, meeting up with kids. Last week, I had the chance to experience with my kids, with my stepdaughter. Went to Nelson Park. They played ball there. It was a great event. Tomorrow, if you get a chance to look at this meeting today, tomorrow they're going to be watching a movie at the community center on the pool area. So so these events happen once a week, every Thursday. So check their page. Different activities. I think the movie, I have to double check, but I think the movie is a couple times a month, twice a month.
It's also on our web blast. It'll be held at the community center. It's in connection with the Communities That Care and the Austin PBA.
Correct.
So if you, I think you could check either. You're supposed to be able to pull the calendar, I guess, at the library and at the recreation department. They'll have the times and for the movies.
Correct. So I thank the police department, Communities That Care. They're doing a lot of work. So this is really, we had last week when I was talking to Lieutenant Sylvester, they had, I think, like 12 police officers, off-duty police officers there playing with the kids. So I thought it was really cool to see that. So yeah, that was my announcement. So thank you.
Great. Okay.
Okay, thank you. We have a few items on the agenda this evening, and it'll be followed by an executive session for the purpose of discussing various real estate matters and separate conference with legal counsel. So the first item on the agenda this evening for the public portion of the meeting is a update discussion on the Section 8 program that the Village of Austin maintains. This is a reaffirmation or reapproval of a 5-year plan, which is required by the federal government in order to maintain a Section 8 program, and we also have a annual public hearing that's required. So with us this evening to discuss it, our Director of Section 8, Marilyn Geraldo, and I'll turn it over to Christina Papes to elaborate further.
I think the manager did a good job giving you a brief overview. We do have our Director of Section 8, Marilyn Geraldo, with us this evening. We're very lucky to have her. We only get her occasionally. So if you want to join us at the podium, use the microphone for the people at home. We'd like to schedule, pending the board approval, a public hearing for this on September 17th. We'd ask for your vote at that time as well. And we're doing it like that.
September or August?
September.
Really?
Yeah, we need to advertise it for 45 days, and so Marilyn's working with the ladies in her office to put it in the paper and so forth. But she can give you a little bit better of an overview why this is required.
Yes, hi. The 5-year plan is from January 1st, 2015 to 2019, December 31st, 2019.
Could you move the microphone a little closer? Thank you.
Okay, and includes all the basic policies, the rules, the requirements concerning with Housing Choice Voucher Program, the office operation, programs, and the services. It also informs the Housing and Urban Development HUD family that we serve from the Village of Ossining and the members of the public of our mission and strategies for serving the needs of the low-income and the very low-income families. In this package, it also includes the PHA certification of compliance with the plans and related regulations, the civil rights certification, and the certification of the PHA plan consistency with the consolidated plan. Like she said, it will be posted for 45 days. We will have it in our office, the clerk office, the library, and the rec department. Any comments should be addressed to us at 16 Croton Avenue, Ossining, New York. They could also fax any comments at 923-6250 or via email at section8@villageofossining.org. It will be posted for 45 days, and the hearing will be on the September 17th.
And the comments should go directly to you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
If there
Marilyn
are any
Geraldo.
comments, Marilyn Geraldo, Director of Section 8 Program.
That's spelled Geraldo.
That's correct.
Just one question. The documents are also available electronically for review as well? Are they physical and electronic, or?
Can they be on the website?
Yes, they could.
Great.
If you could just put a PDF of the documents, I think. Yeah, just make sure.
We're happy to post those on the website, and I'm sure they can be
Yeah.
emailed as well if someone requires.
Perfect.
Or
If
requests,
we,
rather.
put them in the department section of the website or whatever.
Okay.
Just so people know. And it would be good to just raise that up in the blast, and, also maybe put it somewhere on the website.
Good idea. We'll put it on the web blast.
So
Yep.
people know that this review is going on, and that we have 5 more years of Section 8 here in Ossining.
Yeah. Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. And if it's okay with the board, I'd like to, Marilyn can leave. Is that okay?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure, but before she does, since we see her so rarely at this meeting, I just want to compliment, for the benefit of the public and the board, just to compliment and thank Marilyn for her hard work. She really runs a stellar program here in the village that takes care of those that have a need for this type of service, so it's really terrific. Thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for your support.
Okay, thank you. The next item is a discussion with the village treasurer, Tom Warren. The topic is finance. There are certain proposed capital project budget modifications that he wants to bring forward. Tom?
Yes, thank you, and good evening, Mayor and members of the Board of Trustees. Immediately following me, Richard will be discussing the capital projects report and be discussing the active projects. I'm here to talk about the inactive projects and something that we'd like to do occasionally, because the auditors expect us to pass by resolution to declare projects as being finished and closed, and in a few cases we have some extra monies remaining in the projects that in this case would be transferred to the debt service fund, where they'll be held in use to pay the some of the debt service on the bonds that were issued for the projects. And there's only one active project that I'll be talking about, and that'll be the 2014 street and sidewalk improvements for 2014, because there's a resolution on the agenda for 2 weeks from tonight, I believe. The first memo, I listed the projects that have the residual equity to be transferred to the debt service fund, and I'll write a resolution like I have in the past, just making the budget modifications to allow this money to be transferred to the debt service fund. There was the police cars in 2012 and 2013, $4,968. There's also a DPW street maintenance truck, $5,041. And this was actually a surprise that there was this much money left over on this Sing Sing channel improvements project that was done in connection with the MTA, but it's a great savings for the village. It's $33,509 that will go to the debt service fund. And I also listed other projects that have a zero balance in the capital project. Many of these were, projects like the building at Academy and State, where the village was responsible for some of the land improvements, and that was handled through the county, and also the Harvard Square shoreline stabilization. That was something that the village just handled administratively to receive the money from the state and to pass it on. We're actually finally able to close this water telemetrics project, which has been in existence from before I got here. So that bond was finally expended. And I actually wanted to add 2 additional ones. The 2 Power Authority projects that were done over the past couple of years, the energy saving projects, again, these were projects that were handled by the Power Authority. We assume the liability to pay back the Power Authority, and we're paying that back through the energy savings. But I was checking my capital project list, and technically, even though the projects were done in 2012 and 2013, 2011, 2012, they were still, that was correct. We still had them open in 2014 because we're still waiting for the final amount from the Power Authority in terms of the loan repayments. And then the final project to be closed is the Lower Main and Secor Streetscape project, but this is being closed with an asterisk. Right now, as the capital projects report will show, the amount of the expenditures equals the amount of the revenues, which is $718,661. But we have this grant that was awarded to the village through Senator Carlucci's office and through the Dormitory Authority, $50,000, which is for this project. So we need to receive that grant in this project, and that will free up some of the other monies that the village paid into this project. We had issued a bond, and we'd also utilized general fund monies to replace the community development block grant that wasn't available in order to get this project done.
Can we put that money into the general fund, or does it have to go to paying off the debt?
Well, it goes for the project, and so it's paying project expenses, but then we have more revenues in that project than we have expenses, and so that frees up the general fund contribution towards the Lower Main Secor project, and that money becomes available for the village's discretion. We would have loved to put it back in the general fund, but this kind of leads into the next discussion of the 2014 street and sidewalk improvements capital project. And as we'll discuss in that resolution, we really need that $50,000 in that project to pay for the Pleasantville Road pavement project due to the cost of that project.
So we slide it over.
It will become a residual. Well, the general fund contribution in the Lower Main Secor project will be transferred to the 2014 CHIPS project. I'm never going to admit that the grant monies went to the CHIPS project. That was for the Lower Main Secor project.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about that project. And that was the other memo that I wrote, which in conjunction with this, the first part of the budget modification is to actually close the 2013 CHIPS capital project. That's our policy, is to only have a CHIPS project every year. At the end of the year, we close it. So we first need to adjust the project balance for the 2013 CHIPS project, and then there was $47,005 excess balance in that project, which actually dates back to a 2008 general fund contribution towards street paving project, which would just carry over year to year to help us out with cash flow purposes, or to help pay for some of those expenses that might not be eligible for CHIPS reimbursement. And we had some of those in 2013. So that balance is now, as I said, $47,005, and we're showing that as a residual equity to the 2014 CHIPS capital project. So now we're ready to talk about the 2014 CHIPS capital project, which we had initially, earlier this year, established that project with $260,000 in CHIPS funding, and that's where the project balance stands right now. Since that time, we had received from the state the $23,475 for extreme winter recovery state aid. and that was money that was used for mostly pothole repair, and that was accounted for in the 2014 CHIPS capital project. We're also bringing in, as a revenue, money that we held in escrow deposited by Chilmark and Erstat Biddle that was earmarked specifically for the Pleasantville Road project. So at this time, we're bringing that from the trust fund into this capital project to pay for the street paving project on Pleasantville Road. As I stated, we had the $47,005 from the 2013 CHIPS project. We're also bringing in the $50,000 residual equity transfer from the Lower Main Secor capital project. And also, we had estimated $50,000 for site improvements at the Pleasantville Road pump station generator site. And I was actually sat with Paul and Andy this afternoon, and we actually costed out those improvements to just about $52,000. So we have $50,000 in the budget that I wrote up, and all these items together total $458,810. And right now we have 2 purchase orders for the sidewalk work that has been underway already, and we have another purchase order for the actual blacktop for Pleasantville Road. That's well, it was $117,000 and $277,000, so it's about $390 or $385,000 approximately. So it's an expensive project, and you know, that was a reason why we needed to bring in all these revenue sources together in order to pay for this project. And what we were trying to do was to avoid bringing in the bond resolution to the board to bond this project. We had included that as a potential funding source in the 2014 capital plan, but given the tax cap requirements, we didn't want to issue that bond if we didn't have to. So that's the resolution that I'm brought up to present to the board in 2 weeks from tonight.
Well resolved, I think.
That trust fund money is subject to an escrow agreement, so if you wouldn't mind, I'll take a quick look at that to be sure we don't need any sign-off before you make that transfer. But we have a week because this will be on for resolution. So I will look at that in the interim and let you know.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. But don't go anywhere.
Why? Oh, that's why. I'll be waiting for
Lurking. Whenever we talk about spending money, he's there.
All right, the next item is a sort of a late starter. We had recently been advised of a potential event. It's with the Caravan Stage Company, so Mayor Hanauer, Christina.
Sure, I can start it. So the village was approached by a performance company. It's a unique type of event where they actually perform on their boat. They dock, and the audience is on land. So there's only certain venues that can accommodate something like this. And we were kind of, this was made available to us due to a cancellation in their schedule. We spoke with Westerly Marina, and they have agreed to host them on their property. There's just a couple items with this. They are looking for some funding to go with it. They would have 2 shows. They're open to the public. Westerly Marina would open a portion of their property to the public so that they could view this performance. And I did forward some information out because it's one of those kind of things that it's hard to get your hands around what it is. But it is a theater performance, and it looks like acrobats, and they kind of spill out over to the land almost. So it's a very unique production, and they are coming through, passing us. And that is how this opportunity came up for us. So what we would need would be $2,500 to fund the performance.
Free.
and it would be free to the public. And also, Western Marina has asked from us if we could provide some security since they are opening their marina to the general public. They would like to kind of have some areas that are kind of off limits, and this performance begins about 9 p.m. So just, I guess, just for security and safety and things like that, since it is opening to the public and they're not a public facility, as you know. That is what they're requesting from the village. So I need to know if the board's pleasure is with regard to this event.
This is actually a very exciting performance event. They do travel. When I first spoke to them, they were in Florida, but their phone number is a Louisiana phone number. So it's on a sailing barge, and there are, as Christina said, there are acrobats as well as actors on this thing, and they do actually have they come onto land. They sort of what is the wire thing that they come onto land? You should know what this is. Sorry?
Is it a zip line?
Yeah, it's that sort of thing. But
It's almost has a Cirque du Soleil feel, but not quite.
Yeah.
I've printed out some images that show a little bit of it, where they have I think of them as ribbons, but I'm sure they're probably canvas cords, and kind of shows their
I think
athletic
this is
abilities.
an amazing summer, and it follows right on the heels of last amazing summer. But we have all these concerts once a week. Plus, we next week we've got not only a concert but the fire parade, and we have 2 performances of this on Saturday and Sunday, assuming that the board agrees. There's a lot of entertainment bringing people into the village. So,
It's got a Cirque du Soleil kind of a feel to it,
yeah,
except on a boat.
yeah,
But we're not on the boat. We're
Floating
on the land
Cirque.
looking at the boat.
right.
Yes, you bring the
But
people
you can
with
rock
audience
back
will bring
and
their
forth if you
chairs.
want.
Yeah, we can rock back and forth
You
and make
can-
believe.
just don't rock the boat.
So they're asking for what kind of security they're looking for.
Well, we just had the initial conversations with Westerly, so what we generally do with something like that is we'd have the meeting with on the site and look at what they need, what the needs are, ask police to come with us. I'm familiar with Western Marina, but I'm not that familiar with what areas would be open or closed to the public, especially in light of there's a certain bulkhead type area where this would need to dock. You can't dock just anywhere. It's not the reason why it's there is the village nor the town has anything suitable
Deep
for
enough.
deep
Enough and close enough to shore. When we had the Clearwater last year, at the end of the pier, we had to have a barge between it and the end of the pier because it wasn't deep enough to just have it pull up there.
Yes,
It's
that's
the
correct.
Same problem here.
And with that, you can't kind of get around it because the barge was used as a walkway, but you can't sit people on the barge to view. So,
Right.
So do
and then
we know the physically where the barge is going to be
Yeah, it's-
connected to the marina? How
the marina knows that, and the captain know it.
Yeah, I know.
We haven't been involved, and they describe this section. It's the kind of on the north side of the marina, closer to the restaurant.
Right. It's the north side bulkhead. And so what you'll need is you'll need some sawhorses, those DPW sawhorses to block off. They want to keep people away from people's private boats.
Sure.
So you put some sawhorses out and you have a cop that just wanders and stops people from going into the finger docks.
Can we get Dale to do that?
We could probably get Dale to do
Yeah.
that.
She's
But-
very intimidating.
Yeah, but
She here.
but I don't think it's going to be a big deal. It's just people won't cross over the sawhorses by and large, and if they do, you can see them doing it because it's no flat open space. So the officer can go over and say, "Excuse me, do you have a boat here?"
So, what's your preference?
Well, I think it's a great idea. I think it's a shame we're finding out about it, a little over, a week and a half before it's happening.
I agree to that.
That's kind of frustrating. Just based on what I saw from the pictures, it looks pretty spectacular.
You know, I'm a little conflicted about it just because, you know, I feel like this sort of thing would have been a great opportunity for us to, you know, really do a lot more, you know, drive a lot more advertising and, you know, just awareness of what's happening. You know, we only have a week and a half here to push out, you know, an event where, you know, it's the first weekend in August. You know, I'd be interested in what the other members are.
Victoria?
Yeah. It looks magnificent, and I would really like to attend it. And I think it's wonderful for there to be all these free programs available to the public at our waterfront. And I'd also, I really see our role as facilitating events like this to enrich our waterfront. And so it makes perfect sense to me that there might be an opportunity for the police to provide security. And but we made mention of other things that are going on, like the summer concert series, which is planned for a very long time, and most of it is funded by public donations. I'm a little uncomfortable with the idea of spending $2,500 right now, and I share some of the concerns that John just expressed, that with a week and a half to go, how many of our community members will be ready to take advantage of this clearly spectacular program. We had a meeting yesterday about the upcoming budget discussions, and I'm keenly aware of every penny being extremely tight. So I think there are a lot of wonderful programs, and I'd love to see more of them come to our waterfront. I'd like us to help find ways to fund them. I'm just not comfortable right now funding it out of our general fund.
Manuel?
I agree with Victoria and John. I think this is a great program, great facility. Chrissy, I guess we're going about money.
Mm-hmm.
The $2,500. What is this for, and who is this going to?
It goes to the the theatrical company, and I think they use to offset their expenses for moving the boat around the
That's
country.
what they said their week's expenses are. So to get here and then to do the two performances.
Yeah, it's operating costs for their
Right.
their tour.
And none of it goes to Westerly, which I think they are being very generous in allowing this property to be used. I agree that this should have been done weeks ago, but there were some difficulties in getting it on the agenda.
Should have been done a year ago. We could have built
Well,
something
yes,
around
but
it.
we didn't know about it
Yeah.
a year ago.
I have two questions. First, we have a public relations firm. They did a lovely job putting out a release this week about the bees. That we passed a resolution on the bees. It went out to everybody. Is a week and a half enough turnaround for them to do something? You're saying no.
I mean, if you decide to go ahead with it, you can always approach them, but they generally need a lot of work goes into those things. And the thing is, I think they could try to, if you approach them tomorrow or the next day, then they're hoping they need to get it, turn it around, get it right out. In order to get it placed, the earliest could be like Monday.
Yeah.
It's the schedule. Honestly, it should have been.
Calendar items, I think, the month before.
We would normally go several months in advance. They can do whatever you want them to try to do, but realistically speaking,
Well,
If they can get something out on Monday, that's almost an entire week.
yeah, Monday's enough time.
So it
So-
would certainly be worth doing.
People don't start looking for what they're going to do this weekend before the beginning of the week. Most people these days, and but it's a question of turnaround. I'm assuming they have copy.
I'm assuming.
All right. So if they have ready-made stuff that we can give to our PR firm, and they can just push it out. I mean, they all know at the PR firm where they send stuff and what placement is. So I don't think it's a It's not like they have to do this from scratch like we would if we did the publicity ourselves.
No, I mean, we can definitely give that to them. It doesn't quite work that way where we feed them stuff. We have to feed it to them, and it has to be refashioned. There's a lot of work that goes into it, but it can be done. The thing is, quite honestly, a lot of these publications post all these events like way in advance,
Yeah.
several months in advance.
So the second question is to Tom. Do we have the money? Is this a fiscally sound decision? Because if we have the money, it's available, and it's not going to leave us strapped, then it's a great idea. But, if we're going to have to not fill potholes, and, if we have to cut Dale's salary again in order to pay for this, then no.
Can I just interject that obviously, if you ever have to find the money, you can find the money. It's just a question of prioritizing.
Yeah.
So to ask Tom if the money is available, there's always money, but the point is it's prioritizing. So there's
Is there
always money.
money?
You have a contingency. You have any number of. There's no budget line that has monies at this time to cover additional events. So you're going to probably be taking it out of contingency. So, you can't. Tom is always going to say there's money. You're never totally.
There's no money in the celebrations line or whatever that line is.
No, there may be like some money to replace a couple things, but it's a couple $100, right, Tom? It's not. Yeah.
If we took it from contingency, what would be left in contingency?
Well, we generally started with $270,000 at the start of the year, and we allocated $9,000 for the additional historic markers in the downtown area, and we also allocated $26,000 for the Spring Street two-way expenses for the trial. So we're down to about $235,000.
You have $335,000 left in contingency?
$235,000.
We have over $200,000 left in contingency for this year?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we could swing $2,500, in my opinion, to have an event. One of the things we were talking about is what a great success the festival, for our 200th anniversary was last year. And we didn't have the money to do as big a thing this year. But we are somehow, between the concerts and the fire parade and the 4th of July and events like this that you drop in, we're sort of creating the similar kind of thing and helping to keep Ossining a destination and bringing people here. So I'd be in favor, given that we have a large contingency right now. And as far as I know, there's no tornadoes on the way. I think this would be cool.
I'm in favor of it.
It would be magnificent, and I love the opportunity to be able to work with Westerly, and I think it's fantastic that they're open to collaborating with the municipality to be able to have a public event there. I think that's fantastic. But am I right in assuming that at the end of the year, if there's money left of the contingency, that makes it a little bit easier when we're budgeting for next year? The money doesn't disappear if we don't spend it, correct? It's going to get spent on something. And I also am worried about the precedent that we'd be setting, and is there any history of us funding events at this level, of this nature?
In what way are you worried about a precedent?
There are a lot of magnificent programs out there that could come and ask us for money, and I'm not sure that we're going to be in the business of funding arts programs on the waterfront, as magnificent as they are, and as much as I would like to encourage organizations like the Ossining Arts Council and others to do fundraising, and anything that we can do to support them is absolutely our responsibility, and I take pride in that. But when it comes to our budget, I don't see it as appropriate to spend $2,500 for an event that's taking place a week and a half from now that is not part of a larger program that we've been preparing, like we did for HarborFest, which was a year in the works, more than that.
In what way does this set a precedent, was my question.
What do we do the next time an organization says, I've got a great program? I guess each time we come and we say yes or no. I just don't see,
This organization approached us in mid-June, and this is the first time it's gotten on the agenda. So,
And this is the first that I'm become aware of it, and the first opportunity we've had to discuss it, and the first time we've had an opportunity to consider if we could make it a reality. I'm not comfortable supporting this financially out of our general fund.
okay.
I'm going to agree with Victoria.
Okay. John?
Yeah, this is a bad position to be in, because this is something I'd really like to do. But, you know, we have to, we have to be more, more deliberate in these kinds of things. And, you know, it's 1% of $200,000 that we have. But, you know, I would want to do this because I would know and I would be comfortable that it would be successful. And I'm not convinced that in a week and a half we can create a successful event there, given all the other activities that are taking place all around us that have been scheduled for months and even years in advance of this. And, you know, it'd be great if, I mean, I'd be willing to do half if I could get some commitment from another, you know, if there was another business. I realize that Westerly's is, you know, they're doing it in kind. They're just allowing them to use the space. And you know, it's kind of too bad Westerly didn't come here. I really would have liked to hear them come here and talk about why they think it's important. We always want to do things for the waterfront. We want to do good things for them. And obviously it would give them some visibility. But it needs to be more deliberate. You know, we need more time to make sure it's done properly.
Okay, so
I'm not in
that's
favor
not
of
going to
it.
happen.
Yeah.
They may still do the performances, but they will charge for it.
I'm sorry. I actually, John, if you find someone to do half, I have the other half. I'm willing to donate the other half of this for this project, if it comes down to it.
Personal money?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Half of it. But not from our budget.
Is Fern watching
She'll be reviewing the tape afterwards.
So you'll be sleeping on my couch this evening. That's fine. I'll be able to expect guests. But
Yes.
are you saying that if the village pays half, you'll pay half?
No,
You're
no,
saying
no,
if
no.
somebody else
If someone
pays.
else
Oh,
pays
okay.
half.
Because you don't want
I just don't want the village to take
Well,
this.
I would, but I don't think Codman can have both of us at his house. So I just don't think I see.
I think this is not, we're not going anywhere with this.
But
Thank you for
I'm
that
willing
offer,
to.
that's very kind. They may choose to do the performances, but as I said, the 2,500 was to keep them from charging admission. But now they will, if they're going to do it, they will charge admission.
Well, we can work something out that, you know, whatever the admission
we'd
is,
certainly like them to be
I can make,
successful.
I'll get paid for the amount of, what was it, $25.50? Oh, no, $12.50. So whatever that amount that comes out, I'll pay for whoever shows up. I'll take care of that half at the door, I guess. That's something I guess we can discuss that later on. You know,
So
I
something
mean,
we can work it
I mean,
out.
if they're going to do the show anyway, then
Well,
Exactly,
I don't know, I
yes.
said they may.
If they're willing to do the
That's-
show anyway, are we willing to do the publicity? And, you know...
I mean, that could be done
are we willing
separately,
to,
you know. I
to
guess.
gear up our publicity machine on their behalf?
Well, I have to tell you,
Because that costs money
if
too.
you want a captive crowd to get information to, you can just walk that parade route on Friday night and hand out flyers, because there's going to be thousands of people watching this parade.
Sure.
You know, so you know you're going to have a captive audience with children and everything else. And
Mm-hmm.
if you can get two people to hand out flyers all the way down the parade route, you're certainly going to be able to get the word out at least then.
That's the thing. I'm just asking, are we willing to expend anything on behalf of this?
Well, I mean, they're already asking. The other thing they're asking for is they're asking for some police protection, and you know we're not willing to put the $25 in there, but you know in addition to the $25 we would spend, we've got whatever overtime that it would cost to put a police officer there to make sure that the place is secure, and we have to sit down with the chief and find out about what that's going to cost. I mean, we've still got other information we have to gather just to understand what, you know, a total number. I mean, the $2,500 is just covering the circus's expense for the week. So, I don't know, I just think it's tough to come here now and have to make a decision like I'm, with a gun to my head without having more information. I think that's a very generous offer on your part, Manny, and I wish I had $1,250 because I'd probably throw in the other half. But I still think we need more time to get this thing kind of thing together.
Well, I will say, if there's a way, I am absolutely in favor of facilitating it. If there's a way that our village services can be supportive, whether that is the police or through publicity, I would certainly be supportive of that. And I think that's a perfectly appropriate role for the village to play.
So, I guess I would like to suggest that we vote to approve providing the DPW barricades and a police officer and the services of our public relations firm, and allow them to buy tickets. That's the motion. I guess it's...
Sell tickets, you mean? In other words, have them sell tickets to...
They'll sell tickets. We'll provide publicity help and the security. And Manny will make a donation. Does that work for everybody?
I don't think it's appropriate for you to, but it's much appreciated, but I don't think...
No, I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
That's something, like I said, that will be an offline conversation.
Do we need to do something in... Okay, so does anybody have a problem with what I just said?
No.
Well, I just would want to know I would want to know what it is, what it's going to cost to have that police officer there. Just get a number for us, understanding what that. I mean, I'm sure it's not a lot of money, but I want to know what that is and
what the public relations firm's time would cost.
Yeah,
because I imagine they'll bill us, right?
No, we're on a retainer. So
Oh, in that case, that's free. I like free. That's my favorite. So the only thing
It's been paid for.
it's already paid for.
We did get billed, but...
Yeah. Okay.
It's in lieu of doing something else.
Okay. So the only thing we need to do is find out how much it is for the security. But if it's not like $2,500, you'll be in favor of it.
I would hope it wouldn't be anywhere near that
For one
officer. One officer for I don't know how many hours, but it'd be. I'd want to know what that number is. So.
And what does that mean? You'd want to know before voting on it, or?
Well, I'm going to assume that it's not $2,500.
No, it wouldn't be.
I'm going to assume that it's going to be, I'm going to put a figure out there, I'm going to assume it's going to be less than $500.
Then I'd be totally
I'm going to
okay.
give that to Christina, she can verify it, if there's a disparity, we'll get back.
That's fine. I'm totally okay.
Great. All right. So now we know.
I'm comfortable with that number of less than 500.
That's going to cover it.
Okay.
So the thing that we're doing is we're providing the publicity and the security, and they're going to sell tickets. Good for us. Okay. Let's see if they'll do it.
If they'll do it.
Yeah, they may not want to. Carbon monoxide.
Okay.
Okay, the next item, I just wanted to run through the capital projects report. I would just touch briefly on the ones that have been updated recently. As Tom said, we closed out a number of projects that have shown closure and had some balances too, so that's an accounting feature that our auditor encourages us to do. The first item I want to mention is the generator at the Rodriguez Operations Center. You know that you awarded the bid for the equipment, and the purchase order has now been issued, so that is actually in the works. The streets and sidewalk resurfacing we discussed this evening, that's a very extensive project on Pleasantville Road, and I emailed you all late this afternoon. I'm not sure if you all got it, but just for the public to know too, the Pleasantville Road is being repaved from the Briarcliff Manor line, ultimately all the way down to Croton Avenue, and that actually, for those that have been watching, the reason that it's been put off to this point is we were waiting for the CVS project to be completed at Chilmark Shopping Center in Briarcliff, so that all the heavy equipment would no longer be pounding the road. So that's now well underway. Unfortunately, Paul was advised and advised us today that Con Ed, in fact, is going to be replacing a gas main between Underhill and Croton Avenue. So the actual paving of Pleasantville Road may be put off, but all the concrete work, all the sidewalk work will be completed. So hopefully we'll do as much as we can of Pleasantville Road within the next 30 to 45 days, and if the Con Ed work is not complete, then we will finish our part when they're finished. So it'll be either later this fall or next spring at the worst case scenario.
Yeah, I guess my only concern about that is that, Con Ed is, not to be harsh on them, but,
Don't say anything.
having to resurface the portion all the way up to that intersection there, and then the section to Croton Avenue is, it's not even that far, and have to bring equipment all the way back out there and do that as a second half is just such a huge inconvenience. So, I just think it's a shame that I don't know, never mind.
Yeah, no, you know what?
You see where I'm going with this, right? I mean, once you get all that equipment there, then they're ready to do it. And that section there isn't that long. It's a much longer section from that intersection all the way to Briarcliff to do that resurfacing, and it's going to cost us more money to do that last half, that last little section there. That's money we don't have, and couldn't they? They've known this stuff's going on. These Con Ed people know what's going on. It's just an unnecessary, really waste of money we don't have. I wish I had Con Ed's money. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm just frustrated by just that whole announcement today that's happening.
Yeah, so Christine and I shared that this morning. It didn't really start our day with a bang either. So. Because we're so happy to get that done. It's like a really area in need, and it's going to really dress up the whole entrance to the village. So. Yeah. I totally, understand.
I'm just going to. That's it. I'll just leave it.
Hopefully, it'll be our annual bidder, so it'll just be. They all have to reconfigure their equipment and stuff, but hopefully, we can hold them to a price.
Because it's often times we pave a street and they come by the following year.
Yeah, and they dig it up.
Right.
So
and they're not very good at once
no,
they dig it
the
up.
patches
it's not
aren't
they don't
quite
leave it
the
way
same.
They found it. So
we're looking at the glass is half full.
What, 3 years for Spring Street to be done with those big potholes they left?
Right.
Let's not talk about Hunter Street.
No, let's not.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the story with that. With respect to the Sing Sing Museum, I just had a couple of notes I wanted to update, and I'll get to sit with Tom tomorrow. I didn't have a chance to do a total update on this, but of course, with the Sing Sing Museum, we have a collaborative grant that we've submitted with HHRT to the state of New York to try to get the seed money to move that project forward with the conceptual drawings and the marketing plan and whatnot. So the village has committed up to $10,000 towards that grant. So we'll update this capital projects to show that. We'll await the determination of the grant as to whether that money is actually spent or not.
That grant is now being considered a high priority grant by the state.
Great.
Great.
So the community center sun deck is, of course, tied to the work in the Sing Sing Kilbrook project. So that is underway as well and going along quite well. The parts department trucks that were authorized by the 2014 budget, and you passed the appropriate bond resolutions, the trucks have been delivered, so they've been received. The playgrounds, you authorized several playground improvements, and I believe that the playgrounds either have been delivered or they're imminent, like momentarily. The Market Square, of course, we've referenced the fact that the project will actually open up on August 4th. A lot of the work will take place on the day before, which is Sunday, when the traffic is light. And so the actual Spring Street, the actual official day of opening will be Monday, August 4th. As you see, we put up Paul's put up some DPW style heads up. We also have a banner that we're expecting momentarily, which will be more explicit about, the Spring Street. And my thought is to place it in front of the tree, so people can see it coming down Spring Street, and it'll advise the people that Spring Street's going to be two-way as of August 4th, And it's also going to be in Spanish as well. So we thought that would be good for the community, so everybody will have a heads up. And Christina, we should get that in the next day or two, hopefully.
Richard, there's green markings on the ground that weren't there yesterday. Green. I don't know whether that's gas or water or what.
Maybe it's for the event this weekend. Could be for the event that's being held on Saturday or Friday, is it?
Summerfest?
Yeah. I'm thinking that it's probably Summerfest.
Yeah, it could be. Well, it could be for Summerfest, but our striping contractor was going to come one night this week and stripe. So
That's not what I'm thinking, and I don't think it's Summerfest. It's south of there. It's south of Maple. And it's just south of Maple, and it goes from near the curb to the middle of the road on an arc.
I mean, we can check tomorrow. It could be part of the restriping for the lane
It
change.
could be a Con Edison.
We hope it's.
That's what I was thinking it was.
Wouldn't that be confusing?
We make a note. We'll ask Paul tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's make it two-way and then block off half of it with a Con Ed truck.
So, of course, with respect to the Kilbrook, you authorized the double arch for the Broadway Bridge inspections and the work to be done to review whether any work needs to be done there. Pleasantville Road pump station generator. Again, we've been having sort of a little bit of a struggle with Con Ed to try to get the meters installed and get our new generator started up so we can get the rented generator out of there. That's unfortunately been dragged out for a really long time. Con Ed committed today to having the meters installed by July 31st, and they will come back to, they have to energize the generator too. So that'll be done, I think, on August 4th as well. So that'll be the end of that long project. You awarded the bid for the generator at the water treatment plant, and the purchase order's been issued on that as well. And since Tom reflected upon the grant that was, championed for us by Senator Carlucci for the $50,000 for the Lower Main Street and the Secor Road, I was to reach out and thank our state assemblywoman, Sandra Gale, if she helped us with the project down at the railroad station, the collaborative project with Metro North, which could explain why, the funds went further than we originally anticipated. So she helped us with that. And by the way, that's really stood up really well in the face of a bunch of storms. We've had no further flooding issues. So that's been a really good project, collaboration between the Village of Ossining and Metro North. So anyway, that's my update on the capital projects. And I wanted to just highlight with the board and for the public a couple things that we've been working on over the last month. A manager's update on some of the activities going on over the last month. So during the month of July, I had several meetings with representatives of the Ossining Police Department in an effort to work with them to finalize the village's proposal responsive to the Town of Ossining request for proposal for police services. We finalized that and submitted it, and I attended the meeting, as we all did, with the town on July 15th, and the village presented their PowerPoint presentation. So I was very proud of the Ossining Police Department that night. We're currently in the process of responding to the town's additional requests for clarification of some issues and for additional information. This is pretty much finalized, and it will be submitted to the town in the next day or two. We've met with council, and we've been having discussions with the village engineer as well with respect to a request from IBM to extend a 30-year-old sewer agreement, which includes Yorktown, the town of Ossining, the village of Ossining. So we're continuing to talk about that. I've met with various property owners during the month on different issues with respect to their properties. I met with representatives of the steamer company with respect to the renewal of the lease for part of its premises. We had a meeting with representatives of Verizon and Village Council with respect to the renewal of their franchise agreement, and the town joined with us as well. As I reported to you earlier, we met with a potential developer for the former DPW lands down on Water Street with the Director of Downtown Development and legal counsel on the prospective redevelopment of the village land, and we haven't heard anything further yet. But when we do, the next step would be to bring them in here and see if you think that their proposal has merit. We've also been working on the Spring Street two-way, as we discussed, had a couple of meetings, and keep that program on track. Had usual number of meetings on different personnel issues and concerns, meeting with the Director of Personnel and appropriate department heads. I already reported to you about the generator at Pleasantville Road, which will be energized shortly. We welcomed in 2 new temporary appointments in the finance office to cover for 2 employees who are temporarily on leave. One longer commitment than the other. One will be with us probably for about another month, and another through January. Well, and that second person is starting on Monday. The Pleasantville Road I reported to you as well. The other day it was my pleasure to take a tour of all the village summer camps with our superintendent of recreation, so it was quite informative to go around and see the different camp setups and visit with the different directors, and they're all in full swing, and the kids seem to be having a lot of fun, so that's great. The Recreation IMA Committee met with the town in further negotiation of an updated agreement. We have another meeting scheduled later in August. The Tax Cap Compliance Group had its final meeting yesterday, reviewing current village finances, and we had an updated 5-year plan that was provided to us by our treasurer, Tom Warren, and we will now segue into the budget process, which will actually start in September of 2015. The request will go out to the department heads within the next month or month and a half to submit their proposals, and then we spend the month of October, of course, going over them to bring it back to you the first week in November. We've been having continuing meetings with Council and Director of Code Enforcement with respect to housing and occupancy laws, and we expect to bring that back to you very shortly at the next work session. Responsive to a request of the Zoning Board of Appeals, I worked with the Director of Planning to answer certain concerns with respect to downtown parking. I submitted a memorandum to the zoning board with respect to a variance application for parking, and that application, the request for redevelopment of a parcel on Spring Street, was approved at their July meeting. I'm working with the Finance Office to draft a response to the County of Westchester with respect to a possibility of a consortium of communities to respond to New York State tax cap requirements for 2015 and going forward. The objective of this is to identify the potential for sharing benefits of cost-saving measures as well as prior savings that have already been realized, so that the consortium may collectively meet the tax cap requirements and compliance instead of just one community trying to. Again, the whole tax cap compliance law was fashioned without the details totally fleshed out, so it's definitely a learning curve. We're learning by doing. Continue to meet with legal staff on miscellaneous legal and court matters, department heads on interdepartmental matters. I reported to you that we had our last staff meeting at Crobucky Nature Preserve, so that was quite fun. We've been doing that annually now, so that's great. And I encourage you to take a walk around there. It's really quite something. And we're about to add on the additional land from the Avalon, so it's really quite a treasure there. So that's what I wanted to report for you this evening.
Thank you. Yeah, Richard, I wanted to just, we've had a lot of really good public meetings, and obviously we had a lot of discussion, but sort of aside from that particular sort of the focus of the conversation, there's always a lot of things that come away from those meetings, and a lot of the constituents that I've either spoken to or gotten emails from have talked about, kind of wanting to understand like what's going on and what's happening in the village. And your report is very, it's great that you sit here and tell us about it. I'm just wondering if there's any way you could put some of that narrative, and post it on the website to say, hey, this is what's happening in the village.
Great idea.
These are the things that we're addressing. These are because that's very comprehensive. All the things that you're talking about, and I think it's a way. I think we do a bad job of selling, all the things that we're working on, and all the things that you as a village administration have to deal with, all the different interdependencies and things that are going on. So that would just be my suggestion. So I don't know what my fellow board members think, but
I love that idea. And if you could put at the end of it, if you have questions about any of it, contact, put the contact information, and we can send it out to the web
Do you
blast.
want to maybe just incorporate some of the larger items in the web blast?
Yeah.
Perhaps,
as well.
some items of more interest,
well,
general
I mean, I
interest.
think
I think it's better on the website than in the web blast.
Yeah, I think
The web
if
blast
you
is-
put a little section, manager's report, just the things that you've summarized. I mean, there's a lot.
Well, he
there.
currently has that other report that you do. Should we just put that on the web?
Well, what's the other?
Is that
report?
appropriate?
It's the one I send you every week.
Do it every week. The one.
Yeah,
that
the
we get
weekly.
on
I'm doing one
Friday,
every
the weekly
week. I'm
report.
doing one every
And you
month.
do the one quarterly, too?
The weekly
And I do
report.
3 of them now.
Yeah.
I have one weekly,
Okay, well,
monthly,
I
and
guess,
quarterly.
I guess maybe we need to raise that up. We need to let people know that report is there, because I didn't even know your weekly report got posted.
Oh,
No, it doesn't get
No,
posted.
it
That's
doesn't
for
get
you.
posted. No, the one that we
The
get.
quarterly gets
No.
distributed,
Free.
though.
Oh,
If you
okay.
took what you
So
sent
that's
us,
not happening, okay.
if you did the weekly report and posted it,
Quarterly one is posted on the website.
right, the quarterly's on the website, but the weekly, that shows what's going on week to week, and then you could put on the web blast just a point to it saying, and the new weekly report of what's going on in the village came out today, click here to see it.
Well, the thing is that there's a lot of items, obviously, that
Yeah,
I don't
you'd have to
have to edit.
about.
Yeah, you'd have to take
And there's a
things
lot of
out,
items
but-
that I send to you every week that I wouldn't,
No.
would not be appropriate.
Things
So
things
we can
that-
look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, when people sign up for the web blast, I'm not sure exactly, how it's worded, what they're signing up for, but basically they're asking for information and updates about what's going on in the community. Is it appropriate to use that same list of email addresses to, you give us a report once a month, it's every other work session, to get a monthly manager's report that shares the topics that you share with us verbally,
That would work
in
too.
addition to the
You
web
just
blast,
send
because
them
it is a
link,
distinct
It doesn't
thing.
have
Yeah.
to be attached a document. You could just send them the link that goes right to that place on the website.
Yeah.
and
The
then-
only input I would say with that is when we first met with some people with regard to the marketing and developing the website, they said one of the things was to not overburden the subscriber, so to speak, because if you get too much, they stop looking at it. And so it's just, that's kind of, you have to find that balance where people start feeling harassed by it and
That's certainly the case with the web blast, because there are some weeks when it's very long, and to add this to it, I agree, if you can do, just on it, just put a link to
Yeah.
the
That's all,
website.
just a link.
I think, I understand what you're talking about, and I think we can try to highlight some of the bigger things that are going on,
Yeah.
so that people can read that, and then they can get back to us.
The feedback that we've been getting from the public, or at least that I've been getting, is that the public does not find out about things until they're over. And so if the idea here is to set it up so that people know that something is going to be talked about, so that if they care about it, they can show up for it, as opposed to finding out, for example, the PR firm put out a great release that we passed the B legislation. And the first thing that I got was an email from someone who's saying, I didn't even know you were doing this. And that's the thing we want to fix. We want to have people have no reason to contact the village manager's office or the board saying, how come I didn't know about this in enough time to participate? And so anything we can do to alleviate that doesn't put too much of a burden on the staff is a really good thing.
Yeah, I think if we could highlight major projects, so people have a heads up. But in fairness, with respect to the B legislation, that was vetted for, got to be over a year. There were many, many, many meetings here, and we can certainly do, I think that's a good idea. But I think maybe this, people also complained that they didn't know when the town was building their police headquarters. So there's a certain, opportunity for residents to do their part too, but we can try to make it easier.
Yes.
Certainly, there's enough going on here that we can highlight them. Great.
Someone actually stopped us and asked us where the scaffolding was in front of the Leaky Wood parking. They thought they were just painting or doing the facade. They didn't realize it was a brand new building. He said, what are they doing? Are they pointing that
Well,
Yeah.
facade? So,
Yeah, someone else asked us why we tore down those buildings to build the new one.
no.
there's a saying that there are no stupid questions, Oh, no, that's all right. There's no stupid people, only stupid questions. Maybe that's not the case.
But you know what? We can highlight the bigger things that are going on. We'll try to put that out there.
Anyway, thank you for the report. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
All right, so unless there's something else that anybody on the board wants to raise, we could have a motion to go into executive session for discuss particular pieces of real estate.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That ends the televised portion of this evening's agenda. Join us tomorrow night at Harbor Square Park for Juliet and her Romeo and the proposal, and 1984 at 7 o'clock. I know that the PR says 6, but it's 7. And on Friday, we have the concert, and that is 7 also, is it?
Yes, they'd be at 7.
At 7. It's at Engel Park. And next week, we have the fire parade, and we have Summerfest on Saturday from 5 to 10. Next week, we have the fire parade on August 1st. Friday, August 1st.
What time does that start?
7 o'clock,
7
step off.
7 o'clock.
Step up at 7? Thanks.
Okay, so,
All right.
good night.
7 o'clock is the magic number.